Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Isis, All That Glitters. The goddess next door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, All That Glitters in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. It seems like many of these young black men are not being taught the unwritten social rules they're going to need to survive in this world. Because when I take a critical look at the case of your Albert Wilson, who was recently sentenced to 12 years in prison for a rape that he did not commit, and all he did was kiss a white girl, it's clear to me that your Albert Wilson never got the lesson in unwritten social rules that I received when I was younger. Now, when I take a critical examination of your Albert Wilson, I see parallels to the tragic death of Bakari Henderson about a year or two ago. And Bakari Henderson lost his life all because he believed he was an individual, he believed he wasn't a color, and he believed he in the all-American great melting pot. And he thought that he could go out here and travel to Greece and be among white people, and that white people would just accept him just like that. And what happened was your Bakari Henderson decided he saw this very attractive white waitress, and he decided to take a picture with that white waitress, a selfie. And after he took that selfie, that's when all of those beta white males who were in that bar got angry, and they decided to brutally beat Bakari Henderson to death. Now, that whole incident could have been avoided had Bakari Henderson had a black father who would sit down and tell him the unwritten social rules for black men in public. Because any black man who knows the unwritten social rules as regarding black men and white women in public know that they're not supposed to even look at any of these white females in any of these establishments, because that makes them a target. Moreover, any smart black man would not even think about traveling to a country like Greece, because he knows that he's behind enemy lines, and if he's behind enemy lines, he is going to be the main target for many of these white European races. Now, your Albert Wilson, like your Bakari Henderson, also didn't get that education in those unwritten social rules for black men. And this is why your Albert Wilson wound up getting in the situation that he wound up getting arrested and prosecuted and convicted for. Because your Albert Wilson thought, again, like your Bakari Henderson, he was an individual, he thought there was no color, and he thought he could integrate into society and be just like white people, not understanding most of these racists, when they see you in the room, already are targeting you for termination. So this is what a black man who understands the unwritten social rules understands, but not these brothers out here like your Bakari Hendersons and your Albert Wilsons who don't understand. They're thinking they can go in these places with these white girls and start talking to them, and when they do that, they don't understand people are watching them, and even some of these females are watching them, looking to set them up so they can take them out. And your Albert Wilson, who was underage and in this bar, he decided to go in this bar with his friend. He went in there, he met this girl, white girl, and he starts feeling up on the white girl, and then later on goes to kiss the white girl, and then he goes and does one of the most dangerous things you could do, go somewhere alone with this white girl. So your Albert Wilson made several critical mistakes. One was going to that bar. Any black man in these days of this Me Too movement and this witch hunt against heterosexual black men knows to stay out of those venues, because that puts a target on your back, and it puts you in a situation where you are extremely vulnerable, because if you are in this place, you're setting yourself up around to be in a danger zone because you have all of these white girls in these bars. A lot of these white girls are getting drunk, and they can make an allegation against you, and it's your word against theirs. And this is something your Albert Wilson just didn't understand when he went to that bar. He was going into a danger zone for black men. He's in the state of Kansas, a primarily white state. You're going inside of this bar, and when you're in this environment, you should know these white people are not on your side. The same way they weren't on the side of your Bakari Henderson is the same way they aren't on the side of your Albert Wilson. But your Albert Wilson thought, oh, I can be like these white people, not understanding they don't see you the way you see them. And that's why you don't go to a bar that's primarily filled with white people and put yourself at risk. And when he talked to this white girl, he should have looked at the situation and said, this is a bad situation, but he didn't understand that because he wasn't taught the unwritten social rules. And he probably thought, oh, I can talk to this white girl, I can have fun with this white girl. And that was a dangerous thing for him to do, because if you've got these white girls in these bars, they're usually drinking and they're drunk. And again, that's setting you up for a situation where it is your word against theirs. And in this gynocentric society where we have Me Too going on, your word means absolutely nothing. And this is something black men who have this individualized mindset need to understand. Your word means nothing, and your life can be put at risk. And that's what happened to your Albert Wilson, because what happened probably was this female probably decided to get involved with him in an intimate situation, and later on, after she had gotten involved with him in that situation privately, she did not want to be seen as a slut, so that's when she decided to revise this story and say that she was raped by your Albert Wilson and was so violated. I don't believe that anything happened because, again, the DNA evidence proved that nothing happened, and the facts proved that nothing happened, and the only thing that this white girl wanted to do was protect her so-called reputation so that the white men would not see her as a slut, and she could still have possibilities and opportunities at those white men, because in racist American society, if a white woman goes out here and has a sexual relationship with a black man, those white men don't want anything to do with her. And in the state of Kansas, this white female knows that her prospects after being involved with this white man are slim to none, and with her being underage, her prospects fall completely to zero if she gets involved with this black man in any sort of intimate fashion. So that's the core reason why this white female went out here and told this lie, and that's the main reason why your Albert Wilson was arrested, charged, and tried and convicted for this rape, was to try to protect the reputation of this promiscuous white female, because I guarantee you that this female probably did this before at that same bar, coming in underage, and then probably did this same thing with other white boys, but because they were white boys, nobody had a problem with it. However, once the black man decides to go out here and get intimate with this same female, all of a sudden she's a virtuous female who is so traumatized that this man has to be punished. This right here shows the racism that is related to this case as related to black men. And again, this is a reason why black men need to get an education in the unwritten social rules for interacting with white females, because if you don't get that education in interacting with white females, you may put yourself in a situation where your life is at risk, your safety is at risk, and your freedom is at risk, because in today's American society controlled by gynocentric Jim Crow, a black man has less rights than a white man, and both men have absolutely no rights under the terms of gynocentric Jim Crow. But black men have even less rights because all a woman has to do is make a claim that she was raped or violated, and all of a sudden they want to bring in the police department to say you committed a crime. And the case of Albert Wilson is quite troubling because here we have a black man convicted of a rape when the standard for rape under the United States law is this. It's supposed to be forced sexual intercourse with a penis and a vagina, and this Albert Wilson did not penetrate this woman at all. So this whole conviction, if our courts were fair, should have been thrown out, and the judge should never have allowed that conviction to stand because the evidence does not prove any sort of rape transpired. If this man, all he did was kiss this girl, and in order for him to kiss her, it had to be with her will. So there was really no crime committed except for the unwritten social rule and social law that a black man cannot have any sort of interest in a white woman. And that was the whole thing about punishing Albert Wilson, was to send a message to all black men that they should never see a white woman as attractive, desirable, or a sexual partner. And this was a message that these racists under gynocentric Jim Crow wanted to send to black men was, if you N-words do not go near our white women, not understanding how they are being manipulated by their very same white women, the same white women who often got many black men lynched, got many black men imprisoned, like Albert Wilson, all based on a claim that they made of a so-called rape or sexual abuse, when in actuality, in many cases, these females were just as complicit either with that black man or they were making efforts to hide an affair from another white man they were involved with. And when it comes down to black men out here, they need to get an education in these unwritten social rules, because when it comes down to American society and Western society, they don't see you as a man who deserves equal protection under the law. No, they see you as an N-word who they want to put in their place. So the best thing for a black man to do in any case is not be in the places where these white females are, like these bars, like these clubs, like these restaurants, because if you are not in these places, these females can't make allegations against you, and these beta white males who are jealous of you can't target you for violence, and you cannot be targeted for any sort of prosecution for a crime you did not commit. If you are not there, they can't say you did anything. So the best thing for a black man to do is go his own way and walk away from these white females, because you don't need their attention and you don't need to put your life and safety at risk, all because some female wants to go and get some attention for herself. You don't need any of that grief, and all you need to do is find another place to go around other brothers and sisters, because that's better for you anyway, because this is what's going to keep you safe. Now, these individualized blacks, they need to understand that as a black man, you are behind enemy lines, and you cannot go out here thinking and believing in the rainbow, because you will get tuned up like O.J. Simpson did when he was riding down the highway in that Bronco. If you'd like to learn more about men's issues, you can pick up my Stop Simping books, and my book, The Man Crisis. And if you want to help me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon or my PayPal by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.